guys. We're here today to do some English. We're looking at adverbs modifying verbs. It's lesson 123, page 239. It's the last page in the packet for the week of March 30th through April 3rd. So we're talking about adverbs today, not adjectives. Adverbs are things that modify verbs. So they help to describe a verb. They make a verb more interesting. So they describe the how, the where, or the when that the action is happening, that something's done. They can modify other things, but today we're only going to talk about them modifying verbs. So when we talk about that, it means that whatever the adverb is, it has to be directly talking about the verb itself and not anything else. It's not going to be in a prepositional phrase. It's not attached to something else. Like when we talk about them modifying adjectives or modifying other adverbs, they're not modifying the actual verb itself. So today we're talking about them modifying verbs specifically. So they're making the verb more interesting. So we can look at this how first. She ran, and if I want to say how she ran, I can say she ran swiftly. And when I diagram it, I put that off down here. Okay? But you could add other things in there. She ran slowly. She ran sullenly. She ran goofily. There are many ways that she could have ran. This is just one choice. Often these will have an ly at the end, but that doesn't mean it's an adverb, and an adverb doesn't have to have an ly. So you have to be really careful with that. We also know it's an adverb modifying a verb because we're putting it off of the verb when we write our slanty line. We're not putting it off of a noun because that would make it an adjective. Okay. When I'm answering a where question, they drove. Well, where? I'm not saying to the store because that would be a prepositional phrase. We're saying they drove northward in a direction. So that northward is the way that they drove, is the where. It's where they drove, northward. And then when he came, when was that? That was yesterday that he came. So that yesterday describes when he came, and that makes that an adverb off of there. I think these two are a little harder sometimes to understand. When can also be often or never, or you could say not. Like he did not come. So then not would be describing the when he came. He did not come. So that's talked about right here. Not and never are usually adverbs. I do not want any spinach, or I never want any spinach. Okay. And then just like with our adjectives, we can have comparative between two things, or we can have superlative between one thing and many things. So we could have something be faster than something else. That's two things. Or we could have something be the fastest of all of them. So that would be with three or more. When we say, I do that more quietly than she does, that means that I'm the one who is doing it in the most quiet way. Out of the two people, that makes it comparative, more quietly. And then out of a big group, you could be doing something the most quietly, and that would make that superlative. So this is superlative, and this one's superlative, and then these are comparative for when we're comparing two or more things. Okay. So let's look down here. We are supposed to underline the verb twice, okay, 2 times, and then circle the adverb that modifies it. Write whether the adverb tells how, when, or where. Okay. We often look for butterflies in this field. Where's my verb? Look, it's the thing that we're doing. And often, and that tells when we do it. We do it often. In the autumn, clouds of monarchs fly south. What do the monarchs do? Those are the butterflies. They fly, so I underline that twice. And then where do they fly? They fly south, and that tells us where. Okay, and then handle the moth carefully. This is an imperative sentence, remember? So the subject is the you that we don't see. Handle is my verb. That's what I do with the moth. That's the action. And I'm supposed to do that carefully. Notice it's not attached to the verb, like it's not next to the verb, and that's okay. It's still describing how the moth is being handled. And that answers my other question, how, when, or where. This tells how. So I could rewrite this sentence in different ways. I could say, it is important that you always carefully handle the moth. That would be a way I could say that, where I'm moving carefully around. It's still describing the verb. It's not describing anything else. It's telling how that verb has to happen. Okay. Our next section here, we're supposed to write the comparative and superlative forms of each adverb. So with hard, if I say that I have 2 things that are hard, but one of them is harder, I hope you're saying your answers out loud. It makes you look really, really cool. And now if I'm saying that we have all of these subjects we do in school, and this particular one is the hardest, that's my superlative. Okay. Now I have skillfully. If I end with the ly, then I need to use my words like more and most. So one person might do something more skillfully than another. And then out of several people, one person might do it most skillfully. Okay. And then often, we don't say oftener or oftenest. Okay. So even though it doesn't end with an ly, we don't add the er or the est because that would be confusing. So we say more often. I do this activity more often than this activity. Or out of all of the activities, I do this the most often. Okay. You saying hi to Hattie?
What?
Say hi. Because they can see you.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Can you go now so I can finish? She can't see the camera part that you guys can see because I have my screen up. So all she sees is the document camera screen. Okay, this is doing school from home. All right, we are to complete each sentence with an adverb that answers the question in the parentheses. So pay attention to that. So this is he runs, and we're talking about how he runs. So how does he run? Maybe he runs quickly. Maybe he runs slowly. Maybe he runs happily. I'm going to say that. He runs happily. I see Jenna's dad out running, and he looks like he enjoys it. I don't know why, but he runs happily, I think. Okay. And then our last one here, we blank travel to the coast, and this is talking about a when we travel. So do we travel often? Do we travel usually? Do we usually travel to the coast? Do we never travel to the coast? Those are kind of those answers to that when question. So we wouldn't say like yesterday in this, is it wouldn't fit in the context of this sentence. So I might say, I want to do a when. So I almost said willingly, but that's not a when, that's a how. So I am going to say we often travel to the coast. But you could say we never travel to the coast, or we usually travel to the coast, or we sometimes travel to the coast. All of those would work for when adverbs. You could probably even have your parents Google that to help you out with picking those. Okay, so on the back, those first 3 sections are just like what we just did. The 4th section is labeling sentence patterns and then diagramming the sentence. Number 13 is pretty simple. It's just like the ones on the front. So if you look at the ones on the front, you should be able to do number 13. So we're going to do number 14. The black bug flew away. So my simple subject is, say it out loud, bug. And my verb, flew. Okay, and then I have away. That's an adverb. That's telling me what? Where the bug flew. The bug flew away. That's where it flew. Okay, so remember when I'm diagramming, my subject goes here. I have my vertical line, and I have flew. I don't have a direct object, so that's all that goes on my line. Okay, the same with this one. This has no direct object. Okay, so, but I have some adjectives describing my bug. It's the bug, and it's a black bug. So these are adjectives. They're describing my subject, which is a noun. So they're adjectives. And then off of flew, I have the where he flew, my adverb. He flew away. Okay. In the apply and write, I want you to just write one new sentence, and I want you to pick a how, a where, or a when, and say which one is it. Which did you choose? Did you choose a how or a where or a when adverb? But I only want you to do one sentence. Okay, so go ahead and cross that out. And you're changing this sentence. He will come. All right? Okay. And once you get that done, you're all the way done with this whole packet for this week. And so you want to put it with all of your other work so that you don't lose it. Okay? And I will see you next time.